Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. I am your host, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. We're going to go over the top 10 things sold in the month of May 2020 from our American Cancer Society charity eBay shop. I want to give a huge shout out to the amazing support we had in our latest jewelry event, and we raised over $20,000 last weekend and all through last week. So we want to give a huge shout out to everyone who participated in that. So we're going to go over the top 10 things starting from number 10 all the way to number 1. There's going to be lots of jewelry items in here and a very surprise at the end for sure. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go down there, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications to get notified anytime a helpful What Sold on eBay video comes out. I know I've been a little busy lately and the videos have been scarce, but we appreciate everyone's support. Life has been crazy. Life has been busy. Let's get right into this today. First up, we have this vintage 1986 San Francisco 49ers football. This is a 14 karat solid gold pendant. This is licensed officially by the NFL, as you can see there, which is a very rare thing in itself, which makes this a very highly unusual collectible, because stuff like this is usually not licensed. It's like, you know, just created in a jewelry factory somewhere. And normally these type of things aren't licensed, and this is from 1986, so it's has some vintage feel and look to it. This is right before the San Francisco 49ers with Joe Montana had all their crazy amazing runs. This sold for $261. There was a furious bid over this. The gold weight alone was only worth about $133 at the time of the auction being kicked off, so that's just a little interesting point of view for that for sure. But anyways, gold, like I said, it's definitely something to pick up if you can find it. If you have some gold, you know, you can play the game where you wait for it to go up a substantial amount before you sell it, or you can buy some of it low. Gold fluctuates like anything else, and it's really easy to tell how much something is worth. But testing it is a whole other thing, and maybe I'll do a video at some point about how I test gold. I have a few things that I usually do. And I will say this, and this might piss off a few jewelry people, but the best test I found, even with those $500 like electrical tests, the acid test by far, I think, is one of the most reliable tests. And that's cost about $20 on Amazon for that test. It is chemicals and you are dealing with all that stuff, but as long as you're safe, that's pretty good. Number 9 is this Yardro Farmer. This is a large porcelain statue. For those that have heard of Yardro, it is a porcelain figure company. I think they're out of Italy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Spain. My bad. Spain. And let me see here. There we go. There's the bottom of that. And they've been around for many, many years. I don't exactly know the start date, but I know they've had stuff that were produced in the 70s, I want to say. This is a very high-end porcelain figurine company, just like Hummel. A very high-end. These pieces go for a lot of money. They have lost value substantially over the last 10 years, but if you can find some of the rare pieces, they still go for a pretty good amount of money. This is generational collectibles, and we've talked about that before in the past, where this is something that older generations, people in their like baby boomers, this is the stuff they collect. This isn't really a hot collectible, as I don't see Yardro ever gaining that ground that it had in the late 90s and the early 2000s. I think those days are long gone, but they're still collectible. You still can find them. Just don't get super excited when you come across them. Also check for breakage. That's another thing that's kind of suspect about, you know, these collectibles, is they break very easily, and shipping these is a pain in the ass. So if you want to get into this kind of stuff, be cautious. Like if you're going to find this at a garage sale or anywhere, you know, look at the axe, make sure it hasn't been replaced. You know, there's no breakage in the flowers. That's another thing, is Yardro is known for their intricate flower work, because usually some of these flowers are individually done and then placed on the porcelain before it's fired and you know, put in the kiln and all that painting and stuff they do. So some of those break very easily. The roses are very these aren't the roses, but there's some roses that they do that have like 3 or 4 pieces inside of each flower that break very easily. So like I said, Yardro is definitely a cool brand to know. It is a Bolo brand to know, but just be warned that there's a lot of things going on with it as far as like shipping and values and things like that. One little pro tip I can give you too is this 2465 number. That is a number that you can look up on eBay if you ever come across these. They're just like Hummels, where they'll have identification numbers on the bottom. A lot of pottery has this kind of thing, so just be aware of that. And you got different other kind of markers down here, location, time of people in the factory, the little signatures, so they know exactly when it was made and things like that. So definitely look out for these pieces. Next up, we have a vintage 14 karat Fleur de Lis. This is a pendant pin. It is hollow, and as you can see here, weighs 9.76 grams. Now, it's easy to tell with gold and things, especially once you test it, how much it's worth by going to Gold Calculator. You can search that on Google, and basically you just type in 14 karat, and then you put in the weight, and it gives you basically an estimate of what the gold is worth. Now, if it's got diamonds and stones and different kind of settings and things, it's not going to be worth that exact price, but it gives you a good generalization of where you should price something like this at. Gold has gold value, and usually it doesn't go down or up like too dramatically. It's not volatile, but it does have its ups and downs. So it's one of those things where, at least, if you don't know how to price something, at least if you know what the price of the gold is worth in it, then you have a good understanding of where you should price some of these kind of things. This sold for a total of $328. This is a very nice sale, and this was part of our jewelry event. And I'll link a link above to the jewelry event if you missed it. We still have some pieces, and you can definitely check out that video to find the link to our American Cancer Society eBay charity store. Next up, we have another piece from the jewelry event. This is a Tanzanite and diamond pendant necklace, 14 karat gold. 14 karat white gold with sterling chain, as we can see here. Really nice piece, and lovely, lovely piece. One thing I will say, white gold does have a premium versus yellow gold. People will seek after white gold more than yellow gold. It's about the same price as far as the weight, if you ever to do like a scrap weight, but for jewelry and things like that, it's definitely highly sought after. It doesn't have like a huge premium, but there's a little bit of a premium nevertheless for white gold versus yellow gold. So just be aware of that if you ever come across it. And you can basically test yellow or white gold just the same here for sure. This sold for a total of $357. Really nice piece there. Next up, we have another 18 karat white gold bracelet. Now, the difference between 18 karat and 14 karat, for those that don't know about gold standards, usually it's the purity of the gold. 24 karat is pure gold. It's like 99.9% pure gold. Different golds, they'll add different metals and alloys to it to make it stronger, usually silver and other metals that are to help with costs and things like that, to kind of spread out the gold. And they mix a bunch of different metals. So like 14 karat gold is usually the standard when it comes to jewelry. It's not like super high end, but it's got enough gold content in it. And I don't know the exact percentage of gold, and forgive me for not even knowing that, but I should know that. But it's like silver, when you say 925 silver, that's that's 92% silver. 14 karat has the same kind of way, where you can just go to Google and find that out. So 18 karat and 24 karat are usually rarer to find, and they're worth a substantial amount more, 24 karat being the thing you really want to find. Mostly, it's very rare to find 28 or 24 karat gold in today's jewelry, though there are some jewelry shops like Monet, for anyone that doesn't know Monet. They do 24 karat jewelry, and some vintage and antique jewelry are made out of pure gold, because they didn't have the technology back in the day to be mixing alloys and things like that in a a factory production setting. So a lot of the antique and I don't want to say vintage, but a lot of the antique stuff, like 100 years, 200, 300, 400 years old, is going to be 24 karat and the such. So you definitely want to do your test on any of this kind of stuff to make sure that it's legit. This is a nice Bengal bracelet. This sold for a total of $400 right here. And this one was studded with some different diamonds and things like that. A question I get a lot is, you know, when the price of gold, let's say you have a gold chain and it has diamonds in it, the diamonds do add a little bit of value to everything, but usually the little tiny diamonds don't add too much. If you have a 0.5 carat and above, that's when you start getting into the realms of it adds value to the gold. So if you just weigh it and you just price it by the gold weight, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially if it's a 0.5 or higher. You know, you have to look the going price of the diamonds in that case, because there's a whole thing about diamonds, about clarity and cuts and different things like that can take a, you know, $100 diamond and turn into $1,000 diamond. So you're just gonna have to do your research on that. Speaking of diamonds, here we got a 0.5 carat diamond necklace. As we can see here, this sold for, let's see here, what did this sell for? This sold for a total of $433. And speaking of which, this had a 0.5 carat diamond, so half a carat basically. And it didn't add a substantial amount of value to this gold chain, but it did enough as it's 14 karat gold. And I don't exactly know the price of a normal 0.5 carat diamond is, but I'm willing to guess it's below $100. As we can see here, when you get to a carat and above is when you really need to start looking at the diamonds and adding the value of the diamond. A 0.5 isn't going to really add a substantial amount to your piece, but it's all about the piece too, because a lot of the people that purchase this are purchasing it for the metal content. When you get into like higher end brands like Cartier and things like that, that's when you get into the next level of selling these kind of things, because, you know, a lot of the jewelry buyers today, I would even say 75% or higher, are just buying for the gold content. They'll remove the diamonds, they'll melt the gold down and do whatever they would to make new jewelry with it, because gold is a scarce commodity, a precious metal. There's not a lot of it in the whole world. And so that's another whole subject in itself, is gold and silver in a normal situation should be worth a way more than it is when you see stocks and you know, the different prices of it, because there's a lot of ETFs and paper gold being sold, like, oh, you know, I have 10 bars of gold in my bank, I'm going to sell a banknote that says, you know, I owe you 10 bars of gold. But there's a lot of that going on where they're selling 10 times as much paper, so the price is down, because it's not, if you were just trading on the pure gold itself, man, I'm going on a side rant here, never mind. I think this is way too heavy for everyone here on eBay. Getting into the ins and out of the gold market and the silver market, I ain't gonna waste your time. All I'm gonna say is, if you have gold, put it away, save it. If you need the money, sell it. But I'm saying, like, at some point, I really think that gold and silver are going to go way back up in value, because it's way more scarcer than the price shows you. It should be like 10 times as much as it costs, especially silver. Silver is like, what, $17 or $18? See, I'm still going off. Never mind. We'll move on. I apologize. Next up, we have this Jürgen Wilms. This is a snowstorm. This is a piece of art, as you can see here. This is an oil painting, German-American artist. This is a 20 by 24. It's actually a pretty good size. You would think 20 by 24 doesn't sound that big, but it's actually pretty big, especially when you add the art to it. As you can see here, J. Wilms, you'll have to look that up at askart.com. I've done a video on that. I'll post a link above. One of our most popular art videos. You can definitely take a look at that if you're curious about art. I've been asked a million times to just do bunches of art videos. It's as simple as finding the name, looking it up on art.com. If you see a lot of activity with the artist, you got something. If you don't, you don't, because there's literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of artists that aren't worth anything. And I hate to say that, because everyone is an artist in their own right, and I'm not discounting anyone's work. I'm just saying the open secondary market is the thing that judges artists. You can have a piece of dog turd paint it gold with spray paint, and if a famous person or a famous artist put their name on it, it's worth X amount of money. But if just a normal regular citizen like you and I were to paint a piece of dog crap gold and put on eBay, we're not going to get anything for it. So art is very subjective. I will say one thing, you know, before we move on here about art, is if the quality is really good, then it's something you should probably pick up, because quality is quality no matter what. Some people will buy based on quality than the name, so just remember that. This is a decent artist. If I was an art critic, I would say, you know, this particular artist is decent. They're definitely above average as far as technique and style and execution. This isn't the best artist as far as like, this isn't really photorealism. It's in between like impressionist and photorealism, as we could see here. And like I said, I think I've gone enough about this. Anyways, this sold for, I'm ranting today. I haven't made a video in like almost 2 weeks, and I'm just ranting today. This sold for a total of 800. This sold for a total of $488. Just remember the art market is a very strange market. Even though it says like sometimes it's worth a ton, you're not going to get what it's worth, if that makes any sense. Art is definitely one of the longest tail items, especially if it's an artist that's not well known. If it's an upper echelon artist, you're going to sell through really quick. Not that you're going to come across a Picasso or an Andy Warhol or anything like that, but those are the top tier artists. You shouldn't be putting that kind of stuff on eBay, especially if you do find those. And trust me when I say this, that stuff is out there. Believe it or not, you know, we've had some pretty good stuff come through the shops, and I won't say that we've ever had a Picasso or any $1 million painting, though I'm sure we'll come across it in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm like willing to bet money that we'll come across a painting that is worth $1 million or more at some point. But that stuff is out there, and you just got to be familiar with that. Did I take a picture of the back? I should probably talk about the back real quick. The back of a painting will tell a lot, almost as much as the front of the painting, believe it or not. This is a modern painting, as you can see here. It's got staples. If you see staples, that's usually from the 1920s on. Please correct me on that if you know that it was later or sooner. But when you see staples, that's a newer thing. When you see nails in really old frames, that's when you should probably take a little bit of a second look at what you have. This is definitely a modernist frame. And like I said, the retail on this was $3,800 in a gallery. You know, whether or not you're ever going to see that price for that, but insurance value is probably worth that. And like I said, whoever bought this got a really good deal, and it's probably would sit around for years before it would sell for the $2,000. One more thing about art before I move on, and I apologize for going on and on and on. I just have a lot of knowledge, and I just want to share it with everyone. If you enjoy my little rants, definitely go down there and click the like button and leave a comment that you like my rants, because if you don't, I'll just go through the stuff and just give you the prices, and I won't even give you any of the little tidbits of my brain that is just exploding with different things that I can talk about for every single piece that we see here. Anyways, I've gone on long enough. Actually, you know what? I didn't get to say that. One last thing before we go about this piece is, if you have art, always price it high, because you can always drop the price. You don't want to give away a really important painting for nothing, and that's happened before in the past to people. So just be warned. Here we go with the top 3. This is a 14 karat solid gold yellow money clip. As you can see here, 37 grams of pure 14 karat gold. As you can see here, always have to have the scale photo there. This sold for a total of $1,093. This is a really amazing piece, part of our jewelry event, one of the top 3 pieces in our jewelry event. This sold very, very quickly. As we can see here, we did take a best offer on this, so definitely go and check out the link below if you want to check out some of the other items that are in there. There's still plenty of stuff and plenty of great deals down there. Number 2 is this. This is a really crazy vintage charm bracelet, as you can see here. 14 karat gold with 3 charms. It's got some substantial weight to it. Is there a weight scale? Yes, there is. 54 grams. of gold. Look at that. And it's got an emerald, as we can see here. These are very few and far between. You're rarely going to ever, if you're ever going to come across a charm bracelet, it's like never going to be solid gold. These are from, I would be guessing this is probably from the 50s or the 60s. That poodle's a little bit of a giveaway as the date. You know, the poodles were very popular in the 50s and the 60s. But anyways, this is a really crazy piece. This sold for a total of $1,680. That's $1,680. Really nice piece, and this was the number 2 piece. Beautiful, beautiful. Now for the moment y'all been waiting for, the number 1 item is this 18 karat solid gold Chinese heart bird pendant. 42 grams of pure 18 karat gold. Now I will say, when I did my electronic test on this, it was showing 22 karat, but my acid test was showing 18 karat. So I kind of went with the 18 karat because I don't want a customer to get this and be upset that, you know, we kind of downgraded their piece. I talked about 24 karat gold before, but there is also 22 karat gold. It's very, very rare. Usually you're never going to see 22 karat gold. So that's why I went with the 14 or 18 karat. Now there were marks in Chinese, so I don't know exactly, you know, if these are marked, you know, what the gold purity was, but doing my tests, you can tell that it was in between 18 karat and 22 karat gold. So I went with the 18 karat. Anyways, this sold for a total of $2,005. So $2,000 pretty much. Just a smidgen over $2,000. This was something that someone donated to us, as you can believe. It's hard to believe. There's some amazing donors out there. So, you know, I want to thank everyone for donating stuff to the charity jewelry event. We raised over $20,000 in the week, which is very nice, and we're still selling stuff. We had close to 400 items that were listed that day, so there is that. Once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, definitely go down there, click the like button, subscribe for future videos like this, and we go over different things that we've sold on eBay. And I hope everyone is being safe out there, and we will see you next time. Take care.